Welcome to our weekly Q&A show where we answer submitted questions live on YouTube on Tuesdays at 2 p.m.
Hi, and welcome to our Tuesday live show. This is where I basically go online on YouTube Live and answer questions that I've received throughout the week. Some people send me questions by email, Instagram, all kinds of things. I do my best to find them. I don't check Instagram often enough to get the questions. So anyway, if you have questions, I can't always respond in a quick answer. Sometimes it's super nuanced, or it's just my response would be 2 pages long because it's hard to answer. So I do my very best to answer the questions live online. So if you are somebody who asked, you can then engage with the question a little bit, not just me writing an email and you writing me an email back and me writing another email, which unfortunately I don't have time to write that many emails. And I don't even like writing emails, where I kind of like being live online. So I'm going to do it this way instead. So if you have questions for me beyond what I've already been asked, put them in the comment section now, because as soon as I'm done, I am done. I'm not gonna wait that often for questions. And last week, a few people had questions, and I hung up, and they go, "Oh, I still have questions." So if you ask something now, I'll get to it as fast as I can. So with that preamble, I'm gonna get started with the first question. Everybody can see it here, and yeah, I mean, you can buy a tarp at Walmart for $20. So, I mean, you can buy tarps really inexpensively if you just want a tarp. I could Google it for you. There's a bunch of tarps that cost less. If you want a real river wing, an official river wing that's really well designed and made to be set up well, you will not find anything cheaper than NRS. NRS makes, I think cheap is maybe the wrong word, but maybe it's the right word. Almost everything NRS makes is made to be cost effective. So you're probably not going to find a better price than NRS. But if you want to find a better price, Walmart and Willy Bum Bum show on Tarpology, man, I'll do that right now. It's pretty easy. Put somebody in charge, and if you're not setting the tarp up, just watch, grab a beer, and enjoy the show. Because when people set up tarps, it's always a fight and argument how to do it. And literally, like, just put one person in charge, let them do it, and either follow them blindly or just sit there with the beer and just watch everybody argue. That's what Tarpology comes down to. There's a lot of advanced stuff you can do. The things I would recommend if I was in charge is don't be afraid to go 100 feet for a good anchor. Like, use a throw bag, send it to the Ponderosa 100 feet away. Don't try to always put things in the dirt or little tiny twigs. And use the taut line hitch. Do not use trucker. You could use trucker stitch, I guess, but it's so rookie to use trucker stitch. Learn a taut line hitch. It's adjustable. It's quick. It's easy. It is the best thing. It's called the taut line hitch for tying tight lines. And so learn that one. It's a great knot. A lot of people disagree with me passionately, and they think that the trucker stitch is the way to go. Cool. Yeah, just bring an umbrella. Just sit there in your chair with your umbrella, sip on a beer or some sparkling water, and watch the show. Yeah. So cool. I see you're asking me that question. I think I have that one queued up next here, M. Silva. Or queued up here pretty soon. Let me see. Why is this not working? I'll get to that question here in a sec. The next one is about Grand Canyon prep. And if those of you that are experts out there that know more than I do, or know something, you should just comment here, because I'm going to have a hard time answering this question. This person's been preparing for a full Grand Canyon trip, and they're taking a river guide certification course and going on a couple trips. What are some steps I think you should take? That's hard, because people have in the past done nothing and survived. So, I mean, theoretically, you could maybe figure it out, but I would say somebody who's going to row the Grand Canyon should have many years of real experience. And it's hard to just jump out there and go. I don't even know if it's that responsible. A river guide certification course, those can be really varied. Some of them are paddle boats only. And yeah, and Willy Bum Bum, that's a great question. What type of craft? Are you going to row, or are you going to paddle boat? Are you going to kayak? Or are you going to sup? I'm assuming row. If you take a river guide certification class, they don't teach rowing typically. It's just paddle boats. So and it's for river guiding, professional guiding, not necessarily about rowing the Grand Canyon. So, I mean, we offer rowing classes that are on the Rogue River, but it's if you took one of our rowing classes, you still wouldn't, that's not enough to be ready to row the Grand Canyon. Ours are designed for 5 day, or designed for multi days. They're designed for rowing. I think it's the best course you could take to start preparing yourself for the Grand Canyon. But I think you need experience. You need to not only take some classes, but you need to go row some rivers and be a boater. That's my opinion. And yeah, some people could say just take a couple classes and some rescue course and you're ready to go. Again, maybe, but to be fully prepared, you should be a experienced boater with training beyond the minimum. That's all I'm going to say about that. If anybody has anything to add, please do, because it's a tricky thing. It's a expedition trip with some hard rapids and not something you can just sort of like quickly learn. L Choice has done it. Yep, I can see that. Yeah, cool. I'll get to this question here before I get to the last one. Bottoming Jimbo, I really like giving her an IK. How do I size a paddle? Sure. I think the 230 Rio is the way to go. I don't think paddle length has that much to do in a ducky with your personal height. I think it's how wide the boat is. And so, I think I have a bunch of 230s we use for that exact boat, Blair, and for all sizes of people. I would think a 230 would be sweet, but if you don't like that and you think it's too short, get something longer. If you think it's too long, maybe get something shorter. But to me, that's the perfect. If you're gonna ask me, the 230 Werner Rio is the paddle to use. Willie Bum Bum, yeah. And also getting back to the Grand Canyon, yeah, being in physical shape is important. I think for all of boating, being physically fit is an underestimated part of boating. And so if you're not fit, getting fit makes a big difference. Not that I know if you're fit or not, but anyway, let's go to the next question. Oh yeah, I already did that one. There we go. Now we found yours, M. Silva. So the risk reward of the boat behind bumping something mildly perched to get them unstuck, assuming the boat asks for it and is ready for it. Yeah, no, I mean, I think I do it all the time. I don't think there's much of a risk. It's pretty minor. The risk would be if the boat isn't ready for it. If somebody's standing in the water and you bump them and you crush them, or they don't want it and you push them somewhere worse, or you bump them and somebody falls out. So, I mean, I do it all the time. When I get stuck, I say, hey, hit me right there. I tell people to hit me right there. It really helps if there's communication, but I think that's a very solid thing to do. I can't see any problems. I mean, theoretically, something could go wrong, but I've never seen it happen. I've done this probably 100 times and have it done to me 100 times. So yeah. All right, cool. Those are the questions I had prepped because people asked. And so I'll get to anything anybody asks in the comments now. And MX asks why I don't like cargo nets. Probably because that's what I learned on. I didn't learn on. So I feel like we all have a preference to how we started. So I started by using just ropes and webbing and just tying knots to the trucker's hitch. In this example, I started by just using ropes and knots to tie my bags down. That's how I learned. And then I started using cam straps. And because of that, I think that's the correct way to do it. And like everybody, if you see something different, you resist change. Like new ideas, you're resistant to change. I'm included. I'm resistant to change, and that's cargo nets. And anytime you're resistant to change, you also want to find the problems with the new thing and just point them out and disparage them. So that's what I'm going to do. Again, I learned to do away. I'm stuck in my ways. I'm resistant to change. And because of that, some newfangled idea that comes up, I'm going to now disparage it and point out its flaws. I could be totally wrong here. This is just human nature for me to do this. And I think to me, the biggest thing, there's two big problems with cargo nets. You can't really tighten your load down that well. It's just a cargo net over the top. So when the boat goes upside down, things will theoretically stay in there, but they're going to be a disaster. The net's going to move. It's stuff the water's going to push it. It's not going to be clean. I like to say when I rig a gear boat, I like to tell people I rig this gear boat so that when I flip and it flips back over, you guys will say, "Wow, Zach, you're great at rigging a boat." That is my goal. I want that boat to flip right back over and keep rowing. The cargo net, I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to have a mess and you're going to have stuff disorganized everywhere, out of place. That's just my opinion. Maybe you tie your cargo nets down really well, but the times I've seen boats with the cargo nets go upside down or get wrapped, a mess has ensued. I've never seen it cleanly come out. The other thing is those nets are just full of entrapments for your hand, for a leg, for a foot. It's just one big entrapment. And I know that the way I rig isn't perfect, but it doesn't have as many entrapments as a cargo net does. A cargo net is literally just a big entrapment. You fall back on that, you can get stuck. And then if you flip, it's going to be bad. So for the reasons that I think it's not as good as tying things down and more dangerous, I'm going to choose not to use cargo nets. Now, maybe someday somebody will show me the really good one that solves those problems, and maybe I'll change my mind. But for now, I haven't seen anything that convinces me. The advantage of cargo nets is they're really easy, and you don't have to be very skilled to tie your bags down or your stuff down. You just put a net over it and you call it good. So I can see that benefit. And if you're doing the John Day or like a class 2 river where flipping is not very likely, where you're not worried about dangers or of getting entrapped, sure, it's a good solution. But I'm pretty sure if I'm going to go run some multi-day class 5 that I'm not going to use a cargo net and nobody I'm with is going to use a cargo net. But again, that's just my opinion. All right, I'm going to move on. So back to so yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's awesome. No, you should just do that. I mean, the key is the communication between people. Like as long as the person bumping you, if you're the one that want to be bumped, as long as there's a communication, to bump somebody who's not ready is maybe dangerous. So yeah. All right. Anyway, so thanks for asking. And yeah, good question. Do you do swiftwater rescue classes in a dry suit or wetsuit? If you had one dry suit, you can still wear it. I don't think it matters personally. I mean, dry suits are expensive and they have wear and tear, and so it just puts wear and tear on your dry suit, but it keeps you warmer. And a swiftwater rescue course, it's nice. You're getting in the water and swim. Hopefully, the whole point is you're going to get out and do rescues in the water. So I don't think it matters too much. But if I only had one dry suit and I was worried about wearing it out, because in a swiftwater rescue class, hopefully you're getting in there hard in the water and actually maybe doing damage to your dry suit. So I might wear a wetsuit. Depends how cold it is. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. Cargo net always tight. Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure your cargo net's super tight and super responsible. In my experience, the cargo nets I've seen on boats are not tight or responsible. So I'm going to say I haven't seen it done well, and that's why I don't like them. But if you can do it in a way that is tight and free of entrapments, I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it works really well. I just haven't seen that. So that's it for this show, unless anybody has some questions. Again, I try to do this every Tuesday to answer questions that I get. Next Tuesday, I'm probably going to be on the river, and potentially the Tuesday after that. So it might be a couple of weeks, but yeah, hit the like button, please. Subscribe, do all the things. And as I collect questions, the next opportunity I have to go live and do this again, I will, but I may be on the river for the next couple of weeks. So that's it for this Tuesday show, and cue the end.